The cure to depression. Now, I'm no doctor, and I can't guarantee any of the stuff I'm saying. I really can't. I am not some medical professional. I didn't go to college, I just got out of high school. But personally, from what I've seen, from my own experience, and I also feel like that everybody goes through some type of depression in their life, whether it's from, you get your heart broken, you're emotionally drained, maybe you're physically drained. Things don't go well in life for a long period of time. Sometimes that kicks us into depression, and that's how life can be at times. But I think the one main thing that's always helped me get out of that bad state in my life, or the cure to depression, is honestly usefulness. Now, it's going to be different for everybody, right? Some people's way of getting out of depression is feeling loved, like getting support from the real ones in their life, right? But I think I can't speak for everyone, but I think for most people, without even realizing it, when we're useful, I'm not even saying to other people, but useful to ourselves, it gets us out of that depressed state. You ever notice, like, when you go to the gym, or you go out with friends, you're active, you're doing stuff, you're having fun, whether it's you're going on a run, you're lifting weights, playing a sport that you really like, something of that sort, but you're being active with your body. You ever notice that, like, you actually, like, feel really good afterwards? Like, the aftermath, like, you never have a workout where you regret doing the workout. You're never going to have that. You're never going to be like, man, I regret doing the workout. It's always a good feeling. Now, we do regret not doing it, but when we do it, there's never regret once in that whole scenario. So what I'm trying to say is that when we are taking care of ourselves, whether it's, watching our nutrition, activity, taking care of relationships, friendships, family, romantic, it doesn't matter, but treating people with respect, it definitely helps get out of that depressed state. And I'm not going to sit here and say that it's a guarantee. It's not. Everybody's different. Some people do have severe critical depression, and maybe these words of advice can help them too. But like I said, I can't guarantee anything. I am not a doctor by any means. Some people come on social media and they'll act like they know everything, and it's guaranteed to work for you. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know. I don't know you. I don't know if it'll work for you or not. You could have done the thing I'm talking about right now 50 times while you're in that state, and nothing changed. So I'm just saying, based on my experience and what I've seen also happen with other people. So when you do things like that, when you take care of yourself, and a bonus if you take care of others, you help people, you're not a dick, you're respectful, you're there for the people in your life, you're never going to go a moment regretting you being kind to somebody, or you helping somebody when they're down. Like, you're never going to regret that. So sometimes, even when we're down ourselves, lifting other people up lifts up ourselves as well, if you get what I'm saying. So whether they are in a good state already or if they're in a bad state, doesn't matter what they are, but just being positive and being there for people really will help you mentally. And that's what we're focused on, because depression is a mental thing, right? So I think that is the cure to depression for me anyways. And I hope that it can help you too as well, when you get into situations like that, when you feel depressed, or that you feel that your life isn't going right. Like, I posted a video like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, I'm lost. That's literally what I called it. And the whole video, I just talked about how, like, I didn't know where to go. Like, I didn't know what to do with my life. I was in, like, it's not a midlife crisis, but it's like a early life crisis, I guess. It wasn't a big deal because it lasted like a few days. But it's just a perfect example of, like, we're not robots. We're not going to be one emotion all the time. There's stuff that happens in our life that kicks us out of gear sometimes, and it gets us off track. I'm just trying to tell you that when that does happen, here's what worked for me. And sometimes it's a certain thing or a person that's causing the depression. I'm not trying to put blame on anybody or anything, but sometimes when, like, well, let's say for example, let's say you come home every day to your family and all they do is treat you like shit. Eventually, at some point, it's gonna go to an extent to where you can't take it anymore, and then it does start affecting you mentally. At first, you know, you might say you don't care, and for you that might be true, and that it may never affect you. But some people, they'll put on that mask, they'll tell themselves they don't care, and they really do think that they don't care. But then after hearing it so much, you kind of start to believe it, and then when you start to believe it, you belittle yourself, which then goes into your mental state, and it affects everything. So all I can say is when you're in that state, just it's easy to say, you know, especially in like really hard times, it's easy to sit here and say like, just get your mind off of it. But realistically, it doesn't matter what you do. You're always gonna be thinking about it until either you have an answer to something, or you figure out whatever it is you're trying to figure out that's holding you back. I can sit here and tell you all day, you know, do anything you possibly can to get your mind off of it. I was in that situation, and my family, that's what they told me. Now, they were like, even they said the same thing. They were like, I know it's easier said than done, but that is the truth, though. So you're probably never going, when you're in that mental state, that mental block where you feel like nothing's really going how it's supposed to or how you want it to go, everything feels like it's falling apart, and you are just simply depressed. When you are in that situation, all I can say is follow what they're saying when they say get your mind off of it, even though it probably won't get your mind completely off of it. But what I'm telling you, though, is work on yourself. Work on yourself, help other people, help yourself, help others. That's simple. And you might be like, well, how do I help other people? Well, I already mentioned, you know, lifting people up. You know, even when you're in your bad time, when you lift somebody else up, that can also lift you up in your own spirit. So I feel like that is a positive impact, not only on their life, but on yours as well. And for yourself, take care of yourself physically. I'm telling you, like, when you do things like working out, like, even if it's not your thing, if you're in that state, do like a 15-minute workout and just see how you feel. All it takes is 15 minutes of just you're locked in on whatever workout you're doing, whether it's calisthenics, normal weight training, or you're just going on a run. Do something active for just at least like 15 minutes, just to see how you feel. And then if it feels good and you want to keep going, I'd say keep going. If you can do like an hour workout, that's even better. Or 30 minutes or whatever. Whatever is best fit for you. But what I'm saying is be active. Because when you get depressed, everybody locks themselves in their room, or they lock themselves in their house, and they don't come out, and they sit there, and what do? They watch TV, which I'd say a lot of people hate on that. But I do think that, and some people might disagree with me, but I do think that watching TV might be able to help a little bit, just because it does get your mind off it. You're basically, what you're doing is you're escaping the reality of your situation by living through a movie or a TV show or a video game. And I do think that's actually not terrible to a point, as long as you don't get completely lost in it and you kind of just lose your sense of reality. But doing it for a certain time when you're in that super just low state isn't bad. But the truth is, though, even that, sometimes when it's bad enough, you can't get your mind off it, so it doesn't really help. So what do? All you're doing is you're just sitting around doing nothing. So when you're in that situation, do whatever you possibly can to just get out of it. Because here's the thing too, though, that most people don't realize, is that you want to be in that state. And you probably will look at me and be like, that's bullshit. No, I'm being dead ass. Like, when you think about it, there's always been times where, you know, you kind of know the answer and it's better, like it's a positive answer, but your head or your ego tells you that, no, that's not right, and you should stay in this position. And it's kind of weird how that works. But when you feel that pullback of like finally being able to, like, the answer's right there to get out of your situation, and you're pulling away from it, you need to be able to acknowledge that and be conscious enough to realize what's going on, to finally be able to get out of that state. But no, I'm telling you, like, physical activity is a big one. I don't think people were designed to just sit around and do nothing. I think that moving a lot helps. You know, everybody knows, you know, release endorphins and all that, and it's true. That's why I'm saying, like, doing that is going to help combat, you know, that depressed feel. Do something to make yourself feel good about yourself. And if that isn't working out or whatever, you know, if maybe you're more on the artistic side, you like painting. Like my grandpa loved painting. I have a painting right up there. I got a painting over here and over there. He's got more paintings. Like, that was his thing, and he was really good at it. And if that's you and you like that thing, then do that as well. Find a hobby to get your mind off of it, whether it's content creating, like I said, painting, drawing, reading. Reading's a good one. Like I said, watching television to an extent can help, just because it helps get your mind completely off of what's going on. But when it's bad enough, sometimes that doesn't help either. Hanging out with friends, you know, being with loved ones, people you can truly trust, that also helps. Because what we do when we get depressed is we isolate. You know, we isolate ourselves from everybody because we don't want to bring anybody down. We don't want to see anybody in this state, right? We don't want them to see that, so we isolate ourselves. So I'm saying combat all of that. So everything that you really want to do when you are in a depressed state, I'd say do the opposite of it in most situations. There might be, you know, the rare situations where that's not the best idea, and to follow what your mind's telling you. But like I said, when we're depressed, we isolate ourselves. So what you should do is do the opposite. You have loved ones, people you can trust, you know, family, real friends. Hang out with them. Go out, do something, you know, that is going to benefit you. And then what do? We don't like to be active. We like to sit around and do nothing. Combat that. Do the opposite. Be active. Even if it's just 10 minutes. 10 minutes is still better than nothing at all. You know, you don't have to go out and have an intense gym session, but you can go for a 10-minute run. Like, and I'm telling you, like, there's never going to be a run or a workout that you're going to just regret. You're like, man, I really wish I never would have done that workout. I mean, that's just a fact. Like, that, no one is ever going to be like, I really wish that I didn't do something that really benefited me. That doesn't make any sense. So I say go from there. But I really do think that starting off in this situation is way better than kicking it all the way to taking a bunch of drugs. Like, that's just the truth. And that's what most people do nowadays, is they get depressed and they hop on these really bad just drugs. Like, and it's not good. And I mean, like I said, there are people out there that do have severe depression, and those are people that probably do need it. But I'm saying, like, no matter who you are, I say start off with this, and if this doesn't work out, then, you know, go to the next step. But don't jump right to the next step. It's kind of like when you get a headache. You know, oftentimes headaches are caused by dehydration. Me personally, like, if I don't eat for a while, I'll get a headache. But then I notice right when I eat, it goes away. So if I would have just jumped to the first thing and just start taking Tylenol or whatever, that's not good for my health. And I'm not saying it's going to sit here and impact you like that, but I'm saying over time, though, it's not really the best. So start off with something simple as this. Hanging out with, you know, being around loved ones, people that you can trust with all your heart. Work on yourself, lift others up, even strangers that you don't know. If somebody that you know is having a bad day, lifting them up lifts you up as well. So it sounds cliche, but it goes a long way. So, but I really do hope that if you are in a bad state, just like I was a few weeks ago, that this video can help you get out of that. So I wish the best for you, and I hope that you can improve your mental health. So that's really it. But remember, though, that life isn't too short to make a change.